Life. Life is a disease. A millennium ago, a supreme necromancer was on the verge of conquering the world. But you know what they say about best-laid plans. Inevitably, heroes shall emerge. So, I was made dead. Again. But what does death really mean for somebody who has mastered it, Boredom. An eternity to ponder my errors and how close I came to victory. I am a mortal, but when this world ends, even I will know oblivion. And so, I ask myself, will I be given another chance to rise before it happens? Another chance to fulfill my ambition? It seems that fate has smiled after all.
Good day, lords and ladies of the internet. I am your host, your necromancer, your tormentor, the Parafox Archangel, the English gentleman of the internet, and I welcome you to Iratus, the Lord of the Dead, where I've spent 2 years trying to save the world from Cthulhian creatures. I've had enough of it. It's time for me to put an end to the world that I work so hard to save. I'm a fickle man. Don't judge me. So let's just begin anew. You need to finish the game on tutorial difficulty first. Really? Really? Okay, fair. Fair, I guess. Evil has returned. The dread necromancer Iratus has attained his freedom after a millennia of imprisonment, and miners gathered around his tomb still do not know the mortal danger they have stumbled upon. Their bodies will lay the foundation for an army of the dead that will conquer the world. Rise. Each minion has 5 basic abilities and 1 ultimate ability. To use an ultimate ability, you need a resource Wrath. Minions and enemies can use certain abilities only from specific positions with specific targets, just like Darkest Dungeon. Alright, so our guy here is going first. So, how much resource do I have? I don't think it tells me. Smite. Attack twice. Smite. Yes, a skeleton would have smite. That makes sense. The skeleton feature. A skeleton is immune to all debuffs and buffs. Feature. Is immune to all buffs and debuffs. Then why does it get additional attacks for each buff? The chance of enemies to escape increases by 2% each turn until it reaches 10%. Doesn't stack. Huh. Okay. Well, I'm just going to use unassuming strike then, as I don't know better. Damage. Physical and magic damage reduce the target's vigor. Igniting deals instant magic damage to the target and true damage at the start of their next turn. Stress damage damages the sanity of the target. Cursing a target will deal stress damage at the start of each turn. Critical hits by your minions decrease enemy sanity. The enemy critical hits will increase it. So you do stress damage, it looks like. Right, okay. So we hit the dead. The dead are everywhere. Sanity. The loss of sanity in combat can lead to various consequences. Insanity. A negative effect that weakens the enemy. Inspiration. A positive effect that strengthens the enemy. Death. Receiving any amount of stress damage while at 0 sanity can cause instantaneous death. Flee from combat. At low levels of sanity, an enemy on the outermost position of combat of the combat row has a chance to flee from combat. Why did he get 2 attacks? My shift will kill me before you do. Alright, well, Mr. Skeleton, I guess you can just finish this guy off.
Stockpiles.
Ooh, indeed. Now we're gonna scream at him, and he is terrified. And gets 2 turns for some reason. Still don't know why he's getting 2 turns. At the start, all remaining strength. At the start of each turn, lose 40% of its maximum vigor. Receives an extra action. Ah! So that was what it got for insanity. Okay. What did I just get? Dust, weapon, armor, blood, bones, ectoplasm, flesh, skull, heart, and rags. Alright then. Hello, Iratus. Good to see you. Create any 2 minions. Right. Creation. Creating minions. After gathering parts from his defeated foes, Iratus can create new minions for his army. Using parts of uncommon, rare, or legendary quality increases the amount of stat points of the created minion. With time, Iratus will acquire new minion recipes as well as various combat tactics. Okay. So to make a skeleton, I need a skull, I need armor, bones, and a weapon. Okay. Well, I already have a skeleton, so why would I want another one? Skeleton, a fairly unimpressive warrior whose one outstanding characteristic is their utter mediocrity. While they often make up the backbone, pun intended, of most undead armies, skeletons are so boring that they are never really acknowledged by the creators or their enemies. Zombies. Before Iratus came along, zombies were considered little more than fodder troop by other necromancers. It took a true visionary to realize that a mindless mass of undead muscle can be used for more than simply bashing the heads of mortals. With a bit of technological assistance, these rotting hulks were turned into mobile artillery, capable of carrying and shooting cannons that would normally need several humans to operate. That makes a lot more sense than I think it should. Bride of Iratus, a design fashioned by the arch-necromancer himself. The bride uses only the best part to raise a deadly archer with an unhealthy love for their creator. Said love is then channeled into a burning desire to shoot out the eyes of anything that might try to get close to the one she worships. Interesting. So that's their vigor, that determines their health. What's this? Resistance. When a character is dealt magical damage. Okay. Block. Whenever a character has at least 1 point of block, with at least 1 point of block is a hit by a physical attack, that attack is nullified with and the character's block amount is decreased by 1. Okay, so ward is the same, but for the other one. Accuracy. The likelihood of hitting things. Accuracy over 100 increases the chance of hitting targets with evasion. Shows how much damage they deal with stress, shows how much damage they deal with physical, evasion, luck. Okay, so zombies are slow, less accurate, less damaging, but quite lucky. The bride has some evasion, much better accuracy, more physical damage, and more luck, but less vigor. Dark Knight. A manifestation of living void contained in the vessel of knightly armor. These necromantic soldiers are often seen leading the armies of the undead against the civilizations of mortals, where they learn the skill to do battle and wage war to the unknown, but all of them despise existence and seek to reduce everything to nothing. All you are...
Am I in the mood for terror or lethality today?
None. Really, I'm going to assume. Feature, the Dark Knight can't be critically hit. Feature, plus 10 luck against female enemies. Of course. What's the zombies feature? Oh, it doesn't have a feature. Interesting. Banshee. A banshee draws strength from one simple emotion, fear. In the truth, a banshee feels many times the fear felt by her victims. Had she the ability, she would run away from each battle in blind terror, but necromancers had long since employed additional bindings to keep that from happening. Wrath. Despite the seeming simplicity of this minion, its summoning has been prohibited by the Necromancers Guild since the dawn of history. Not even Icarus remembers the reason for this decree, but there are many rumors surrounding this particular summoning. It is said that the very first Necromancer created this minion as a vessel for his rebirth, or that the soul that answers the Necromancer's call comes not from the afterlife, but from another, much more alien place. Nobody seemed to have had the courage to put these theories to the test, or maybe those that did never survived the process. Still, the guild has been nothing but ruins for millennia. It is now up to Icarus to decide what to do with this knowledge. And then finally, an infested. Icarus has always prided himself on using only the best materials for his zombies, making them far more imposing than the second-hand creations of other necromancers. However, with more improvements, even the more traditional shambling corpses can find a place in the army of the Lord of the Dead. Enhanced by the curse of frailty, these creatures are feeble, but also the perfect hosts for all manner of plague. Constantly emitting noxious fumes, these unassuming grunts can wreak havoc on the enemy morale on the front lines. When infested dies, all enemies lose 52 to 56 sanity. Oh, so they're kind of like suicide soldiers. Alright, well, you know what I feel? I feel like a bride, so let's get ourselves these. We craft ourselves a bride.
Honey, you are so wonderfully rotten.
Oh, I'm sure she is. Then for you, we need armor, ectoplasm, dust, and bones. You got nothing to say about that one? Really? Well, we should at least put them in the right order. I mean, I assume you basically work from the back, right? All but one of them. Which is fine. What's this? Level. Insanity instantly levels up minions. I can level up minions? To start combat, open the map. There's a lot to go on with when you're trying to just take over the world through sheer death. The kingdom had need of the vast riches buried underneath the castle, great veins of iron that promised to fuel conquest after conquest, along with ancient artifacts from a long-forgotten age. The dwarfs were eager to offer their services in this project, bringing their untested mining equipment and experimental concoctions for the promise of wealth. They only needed bodies that would obey, and that the humans could provide. With the dungeons filled to the brim with both criminals and rebels, there was no shortage of slaves to work these mines. Drugs were used to keep them docile as they dug ever deeper, year after year, unaware of the mortal danger that waited below them. I see. Wow, Wait, is this only the... All of this is only the mines. Jesus Christ, that's a lot to go through. Fountain of Restoration, a place of power to restore the mana and mana to Icarus or vigor to minions. Okay. Sterile, contains records of past battles, which can be used to raise the level of minions or Icarus himself. Sacrificial Altar. By sacrificing minions, Icarus receives parts, items, and a random consumable. Huh. So it's not so much we go through all of this, as it is, this is just the dungeon we need to go through to get up here. And then we hit the boss. Okay. So first we fight this. Some enemies possess unique features that either strengthen or weaken them. Study the feature of your minions and your enemies so you can fight them more effectively. Standard skeleton stands ready to serve. Alright, well, what's your feature then? When the Taskmaster dies, his allies recover 30 sanity. So in other words, kill you last, effectively. You have a perma buff, which is kinda nice. When an enemy moves, deal 60 damage. Okay. Well, let's just chest piercer this guy. Just for a good hit. You can then whack him.
Worthless as you were in life, you will be worth something in death.
Still got it. Stay down unless we raise you. You know, I'm starting to think these minions might have kind of attitude. Deals additional damage equal to 40% 6 of the sum of the Dark Knight's armor and resistance. Okay. Stress attack. Deals 100% damage. Deals additional for each buff and debuff on the target. I'm guessing you've got armor? Yes, you do. Dark Tithe. Removes all debuffs from the Dark Knight. Icarus gains 6 mana. Wrath gains 6... Icarus gains 6 Wrath. What is this Wrath stuff I see? Futile Hopes. Deals each time an enemy receives a buff, the Dark Knight deals damage to. So from what I see, you're more of a stress dealer. Hopeless. Oh, well done. I'm glad I made the Dark Knight. Decreases damage dealt by 50%, removes all blocks, removes all wards, loses all armor, loses all resistance. Wow. That's quite the insanity you just received. Alright, well, let's just shoot you square in the chest. Block. Expended to completely nullify the next physical attack. Right, okay. Well, he can't ignore the next one. As for you, you can keep stressing the main guy. I still love how they can't even hurt the... They can't even begin to hurt him. Also, shouldn't you be dead, considering your sanity? Alright, well, let's kill the task manager.
Good.
Kill the task manager, alright.
I didn't think it would be this easy.
So... Can I even kill you via stress? Because if I can't... It seems to me that stress is kinda pointless unless...
A sad display for mortal
Battle results.
kind.
After winning a battle, Icarus receives the results. Digger's souls used to construct and improve buildings at the graveyard. Parts needed to craft minions. Artifacts can increase the power of your minions and Icarus himself. Brains used to quickly increase the level of minions. Additionally, minions that did not participate in battle restore a small amount of vigor, according to the difficulty level. Right, okay. Scroll of Skullfall. Unlocks a secret destruction spell. One-time use. Deals 12 magic damage to all enemies. Sets them on fire for 3 turns, dealing 6 damage per turn. Right, okay. Equip Icarus with the acquired artifact. Artifacts, okay. There are 4 main types of artifacts. Weapons, armor, rings, and amulets. You will also encounter consumables. Such artifacts only apply for 1 battle, after which they are spent. At the beginning of the game, Icarus receives 1 random artifact. Really?
It embellishes my undead features, no?
You could say that, I guess. What does disintegrating artifacts do? Oh, now we're going back to combat. What about these talents? We have so many of them. Alright, what do we want? Restore vigor. I don't think we need to do that. Although I think I should probably make some more minions, like another skeleton to use while it's resting. I'm not sure which skeleton will get into the combat though. And then as for the Banshee, let's try a zombie instead, you know? The zombie seems like fun. Where can you use most of your abilities? The front row, it seems, actually. Yes, you're mostly the front row. You're probably not the best one to create then. As for the Wrath, which is mostly in the back. So you know what? Rags, 2 ectoplasm, and 1 dust.
Why do I get this sinking feeling in my putrefied gut?
Right, so how do I determine which minions are in combat? Is it the first ones in the front, or... Well, either way, let's go to... What's more useful to me? You know what? I want to go to the chest, so we need to go to this, which can be used to raise the level. Oh, there's different battle squads. That's how it works. Okay. Choose who will be trained. Icarus gains 100% experience from the gains 100% experience of 100% of the experience of the current level. All minions gain 100% experience from current level. You know what? Let's go minions! Just to empower them. And then we move on to start combat. And back we are. Resources and magic. Ikaris possesses the following stats and resources. Mana, needed to use talents from magic, ire, and destruction trees. Mana is restored after each victory in combat, through minion abilities or via certain encounters on the map. Wrath, needed to use ultimate abilities of your minions. Wrath increases during combat and resets at after the end of combat. Spell power increases the effectiveness of active Ikaris talents. Ikaris gains 1 spell power point for each level and can further increase it via artifacts, talents, or minion abilities. Alright, so you just got bonus accuracy and whatnot. So, if we then... Let's see, 40% damage. Logically, because you're buff, this should hit 3 times? Yeah! That's how we do it. And then we just give it a shot in the chest and it dies. Perfect! Alright, what is this thing? A guard. Well, they got a lot of armor. Glad I brought a banshee for... whatchamacallit. Okay, so the Wrath has two levels of block and ward. Interesting. Deals magical damage. Target can't move. Oh, that's an awful lot of stress. Target loses all initiative for 1 turn. Trap. Summons a concealing cloud for 2 rounds. Any minion within the cloud receives bonus evasion. Alright, well then let's... terrify this guy. Unlucky. Minus evasion. Well, you just buffed this guy, so let's just... mass hit him again. Oh, sorry, I think you broke a bone there. That's how a skeleton does things. I confess, I did not expect the attitude from all the characters. From all the minions. I'm beginning to like the skeleton. They seem to have an awful lot of personality, which I find very hilarious, actually. Let's have you attack the guard, considering it's got so much... You missed. Of course you bloody missed. Alright then. Well... we hit you with that. Your armor absorbs probably some of it. We shoot you with the bow. You will die, pitiful humans. We shall teach you. Oh, that's Wrath. Where's my Wrath stat? I don't know where that is. Oh, it's right in front of me, blocked by my microphone. I see. The Dark Knight doesn't hit very hard. He is definitely the tank. That's for sure. Of course he got 2 HP left. Stances, a type of ability that some minions and enemies can use in battle. Stances differ in duration. 1 turn stance. The stance that will end at the end of the character's turn. Stance until battle ends. The character will remain the stance until it is cancelled or the battle ends. Any stance can be cancelled via forced movement or stunning unless the description of the stance states otherwise. Traps. Traps. Abilities, the effects of which are limited to 1 specific location. Depending on the specifics of the trap, a character occupying that position can receive negative or positive effects. A trap can be destroyed by certain abilities or overridden by another trap. Whenever a minion moves, attack it for 100% damage. Alright, well... let's do that to you, just to kill you. Then... let's do this, just hit you. All opponents randomly swap positions. Interesting ability. Right, now my Dark Knight is going to ult.
One less annoyance in the world.
In order to heal. Feed the void, 1 by 1. This skeleton seems to have taken a lot of damage. There we go.
Mop up the gore. I'd hate to see plants using it as fertilizer.
That's very appropriate for a necromancer to say. Okay. Now what? Unlock a new talent. Talents. Winning battles rewards Iratus with experience that increases level. At each level, he receives talent points that can be used on the following ability trees. Alchemy increases the efficiency of your minions and resource economy. Magic spells weaken opponents, requires mana to use. Ire strengthens minions. Spells strengthen minions, requires mana to use. Deal direct damage to enemies. Alright, so, increases the amount of Digger Souls received at the end of battle. Increases the chance to receive an uncommon or better parts. Minions restore 100% more vigor when Iratus uses distillation. What's distillation? Is that a spell, or something, or I don't know. Iratus restores 100% more mana using calculation. So, I wonder what it means by the tier 2. Or whether there's a minimum we need to get to the tier 2. So that costs... The tier 4 abilities cost 4 talent points. So if I just get that... Then if I use Ire, target minion loses 12 luck and gains 6 attack and dread until the end of battle. Additionally, improves attack and... Spell power additionally improves attack and dread by 2% of its basic statistic. All minions receive +1 attack. That just looks like a passive, not rather than a whatchamacallit. I'm guessing if it's a circle, it's a passive, and if it's not, and if it's a square, it's an ability, right? So, let's just give all minions +3 attack.
It will be a messy slaughter.
Oh, so So tier 2 abilities cost 2 talent points. Got it. I feel we should get at least one spell. Shouldn't we? At the start of its turn, a minion gains 2 initiative for 2 turns, if Iratus has at least 25 wrath. Every time a minion misses an attack, Iratus gains 3 wrath. Let's just use Cursed Doll, because... Or grab the Cursed Doll and see what happens. Then we're gonna switch out the skeletons for the obvious reason of one's higher level than the other. Although it doesn't look like... Minions gain 1 skill point every 3rd level. The ultimate ability can be upgraded at level 15. So, stat points. A minion gains 2 stat points each level. Oh, so I need to allocate the stat points. Right, okay. Guess that makes sense. And each minion levels up in different ways, I see. Interesting. Oh, but they also have different costs. So I can increase your block value, but I can't give you armor. Whereas you, I can increase your armor by 1 for 2 points. Huh. Well, let's increase the Dark Knight's health then, considering it's meant to be the tank. We'll increase... Well, this minion doesn't have anything, but this one does. I feel like upgrading its armor, but probably its attack would be better. I can't increase your attack damage, but I can increase your stress damage. Interesting. So you are definitely a stress dealer, is the Wrath. Or the Wraith. Whatever the hell you want to call it. I could increase your health, madam, but you're a damage dealer, so let's go with that. Alright, I'm done upgrading. Let's move on. What's the chest give us? But Squad 2, obviously. Select a boon. Iratus receives 14 spell power. That's a lot. All enemies lose -1 ward at the beginning of each battle. Interesting. And a random enemy loses 30 luck until the battle ends. I think the Lancet...
It embellishes my undead features.
What happened to my artifact? My scroll. I never used the scroll. Do artifacts only last 1 turn? Because if that's the case, that's kind of stupid. Also, this is straight lines only, I see. I wonder if you get something special for killing an elite squad. Probably. Okay, well, let's move on. Come on, my minions, it's time for you to progress. Oh, here's my spells. Interesting. Well, you're a hunky and you're 2 conscripts. So, let's just mass hurt this conscript man. Really, pal? Stance, Sinister. At the beginning of the next turn, will deal a lot of damage to a random target. Right, okay, got it. So let's try this magic then.
Born was your first mistake. Opposing me? Your last.
You're not very... You're very... Ooh, debuff. Exterminate the undead. Minus 30 accuracy. Interesting. Alright, well... If I do this, you lose all buffs and lose initiative. Right? Yes. I made you lose your attack. Excellent. Well then, Mr. Skeleton. Astounding Fortitude. So you have block. Okay. And the ability to buff people. Well, you can really become quite the support character, can't you, Mr. Skeleton? Alright, well, this is a warning shot that interrupts stances. So, there we go. He's now insane and in a panic. That's cool and good. Nice to see. I'm just gonna
move
fireball you. Or whatever the hell it is I'm doing.
Brave are an excellent source of fresh corpses.
Oh yes, I'm sure they are. Nothing fancy about my strike. I like the skeleton. I really like the skeleton. The skeleton has attitude, and I love that attitude.
This world will be mine.
We've got 6 IQ. Okay. So, minions upgrade. Minions evolve and can be improved in multiple ways. 1. Leveling. Grants a minion stat and skill points. Every level a minion gets 2 stat points for an improving stat. Every 3rd level a minion gains 1 skill point for upgrading abilities. Using parts of higher quality grants a minion additional stat points. Items. Provide your minions with additional features. Trigger. Receiving buffs and debuffs from the minion's items doesn't trigger any effects. A brain instantly gives a minion additional experience. So why is this Banshee glowing the way it is? Or are you telling me that I need to upgrade them? Improve a minion using brain. Oh, okay. Well, wait, are you just telling me that's a level 6 brain and I can instantly give it to anyone to level them up to level 6? Is that what you're telling me? Well, in that case, I don't want to use it on the Banshee. I don't seem to be a fan of the Banshee. Shut up, I'm just deciding who I'm going to level up for you. It's all about, I suppose, looking at the abilities you use and seeing how they level up. Clumsy Strike doesn't miss. Okay. Sudden Strike ignores armor and block. Both of those are really useful. The skeleton gets Vorpal Strike. Anyone who plays D&D knows Vorpal Strike is one of the most powerful things. Why would you assume a skeleton is mediocre if they get something like Vorpal Strike? I suppose it does make the most sense to give it to the Banshee because of the simple fact the Banshee has the... I just don't like any of the abilities the Banshee has. Maybe I should make a new minion instead to go with it. To give the big brain. That makes sense. If I make a new minion, they get the big brain and I don't have to waste any of the experience I've gotten. Huh, the way you unlock different enemies is kind of interesting. You know, I really want to make a minion just for a zombie, for the sake of making a zombie, just to see what they look like.
They will be expecting cannon fodder, but I will give them cannons instead.
I mean, the zombie does look like a decent frontliner. Or at least a second position. Hey, you know what? Screw it, Mr. Zombie. I'll give you the big brain. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. You get the big brain. You get a lot of skill points to go up for it as well. So, Mr. Big Brain Zombie, let's see how we're going to level you up then, because apparently upgrading your resistance costs nothing. Upgrading your whatchamacallit probably wouldn't be bad. It actually tells you the max amount of times you can upgrade each stat as well. Interesting. So, if I'm looking at these skill ups, that says it's got +2 luck and the other's got +4 accuracy. Does that mean if I upgrade one, whether it'll give the +4 accuracy?
Serve me well, my minion.
Yes, it does. So not only is it working out which side is the best kind of upgrade, but it's also a matter of which side kind of does the best in general. Okay, I'm done upgrading all my minions. Now we just look at the talents. We think, we need at least more than one. So, what spells or abilities can I get? +3 dread to all minions. Could be nice. +5 mana after each fight.
Spells,
you know what? That seems like one of the best.
All are at my command.
So, do we want the ancient coffin containing dormant enemies? Or do we want to go to the ancient... Or do we want the coffin to get items, or the grave to get dormant minions? I'm leaning towards the minions, personally, because you never know what we might get. What would I like? An infested, a zombie, or a skeleton? You know what? I actually think I'll go for the zombie. Oh, and it's level 3 as well. Well, that means I now have a complete squadron, at least. So, Mr. Zombie, considering the Wrath got the ability to reduce resistance for 4 turns, and I'm not sure if you can actually have resistance go below 0, I'm going to have you upgrade into the magical damage of your stock charges. Although, thinking about it, that's probably an idiot's move, because you should be in the front line looking at that team. Well, I'm a stupid. I am a stupid. Alright, well, let's move on and use, we'll use the second embattled squadron. I honestly have no idea how much longer this tutorial's gonna last, because I was hoping to end the tutorial before the end of the episode. But it's looking a little more difficult than I initially thought to be able to do that. Especially as the enemies seem to be growing stronger. Well then, Mr. you're going to smite so you can remove the block and deal damage. You, Mr. Zombie, are going to get ready with the abyssal stuff. You, Mr. Dread Knight, are then just going to whack, because I upgraded your wacky ability so that you actually become a wacky man. Can I even hit the back row with that? No. No, I can't. Well, let's hit the front row. Okay, fine. Don't hit the front row. See, that's what happens when you don't hit the front row. You know what?
Ooh, this one voided.
Let's just make sure we destroy that one. Makes things so much easier. And that is why I seem to like the zombie. This abyssal stuff doing that amount of damage each turn just seems ridiculous. So this game definitely seems to be a balance between...
Another step towards my eternal kingdom.
Digger's Souls. Well, clearly we're going to be using them in the tutorial next. Seems to be a balance between using more enemies, using more squads so that your other squads can recover, and the same squads so that they have a chance to level up. Graveyard on Construct. After obtaining freedom, Iratus turned his prism into a base of operations. Graveyard buildings require minions and a special resource in order to construct them. Digger Souls. Alright. So, what do each of these do? Praising the necromancer at a monument, each minion restores 10 mana. Applies after a victory, except quest battles. Building requirements. I need a bride. Alright. Excavation. 50% chance for each minion working at the excavation site to find a random part. Okay. A powerful aura of death restores 100% vigor. Applies after a victory, except quest buildings. Are you saying it applies 100% vigor to the zombies or anything in it? Well, you know what? Let's go with the excavation, just because it looks like if I do that, I lose the minion. So, let's craft myself a skeleton.
Bones. Just so uninspired, you know.
And do that. What the Christ is that thing? I can use a... whatchamacallit? Zombie to upgrade? I still need the other stuff, at least. What's the library do? Each minion studying ancient books gives Iratus plus 40 experience and 8% of the experience of the current level. Applies after a victory. The Mystic Obelisk attracts wandering souls. Every minion next to it generates 4 to 6 minor souls. Oh, so that's what you'd make in order to build this thing faster. Which seems like one of the most important things to start with. So, let's make myself another Wrath.
The pact is signed. Let's hope there was no fine print. The cold-edged stone of the obelisk hums with the power of souls drawn towards it.
Yeah.
Many ancient monuments were built for exactly this purpose.
Fair enough, then. Well, I think you're telling me to go to the alchemy now. Of which, you know what? Sure. Alchemy. Iratus is proficient in several alchemical disciplines. Transmutation, transformation of one type of part into another. Distillation, spend parts, brains, or items to gain vigor for minions. Extraction, crafting items from available parts. Calculation, spend parts, brains, or items to gain mana for Iratus. Okay. So, doing the transmutation, I have a chance at making anything into anything, and it doesn't matter what I use, looking at that. Right, okay. Convert 3 parts of the same part. Convert 3 parts of the same type and rarity to combined into a new item. Steel Spikes. Reduce all physical damage by 10%. Increase physical damage by 10%. Reduces crit damage received. Increases spell power. Increases all damage dealt. Increases critical damage dealt. Reduces all damage. Increases stress damage. Increases magic damage. Reduces magic damage. Pretty basic items, but we can understand the concept. Let's see. You know what? Let's trade some dust to increase the vigor of minions. Although I'm not sure if I need to do that right now, actually. This concludes the tutorial. You can continue the current game on Cake War, or restart on More Pain or Always Good Always Wins difficulties. Well then! I think that's a good place to end the episode then, as it means I can actually enter the non-baby mode next time. We can start a new game, and we could probably play on normal. Or good always wins if everyone really wants me to suffer, which I know you all do. So, everyone, it looks like this is a good place to stop for today's episode. So, what can I say other than thank you all for joining me? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below if you wish for me to continue my adventure of undead global conquest. So, everyone, I'm afraid that until next week, it is time for me to bid thee all farewell, good day, and finally, good night.